Hello folks, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. So glad that you could join me here today. Thank you for all the new subscribers. You are so welcome. Really excited to have you here. So welcome to everyone who has subscribed. And for those of you who are brand new, welcome too. If you feel as though this is the energy that you need in your life for some guidance and support, feel free to subscribe a little bit later on. So today what I thought we would do for a general reading, I just finished a reading for when are you going to meet your spouse? So I thought we would follow up on that naturally with when are you going to have children, or really how many children, what your children are like. Now, for those of you who already have children, I'm sure there'll be some little pieces of information about what they're like and some information that will resonate. So please stay with us. And for those of you who are thinking about children in the future, let's just see what the cards and our little channeled messages today come up with. So I do want to say this is a timeless reading, and also please bear in mind that obviously these are general readings, so please take what resonates and just leave behind what doesn't. If you guys are looking for this kind of energy but much more specialized and much more specific to who you are and your specific circumstances, I do personalized readings, 3-card and 12-card readings. I promise you it's a painless process. And the readings are delivered right to your email within 72 hours. And I wouldn't discount the 3-card reading because you can get some specific messages with that. But obviously the 12-card reading can go pretty much into depth into any area of your life, whatever it is that you are looking to find clarity on. So all those details to book a reading are down below. And again, very painless process. Just some insights and channeled readings and messages just for you. But for now, what we're doing is a general reading. And as always, I do try and make these readings as specific as possible based on the fact that they are general readings. So I thought what we would do is use the pendulum because I love using the pendulum. So I have boy, girl, 1 child, 2 children, 2+ kids, and stepmama and steppapa here. So we're gonna start off with a little information from the pendulum right there, and then we're gonna go ahead and get some extra information too with the charms. I love using the charms. I do read these charms intuitively, but also these charms are for if there's any specific sort of messages or anything that resonates with you specifically, please feel free to read them as you would intuitively. So if anything pops out that really resonates with you in a massive way, and you feel like the reading is, that message, that particular charm is just for you, then that's exactly what it's there for. But I will read them intuitively too. So yeah, let's get on. We have 3 piles as usual. The first pile, I try to keep these kid-friendly and sort of childlike as possible. So we have the little bunny rabbit here, the white little bunny rabbit, and then we have the koala, and also sending blessings out to Australia too. So this is the little koala in the middle, pile 2. And then, of course, we have to have a unicorn. So we have this cute little unicorn here on pile 3. So as always, please take your time. We're going to ground into our energy, call into our beautiful spirit guides here, and always ask for messages of support, clarity, messages that resonate in the immediate future, in the present, right now, messages of love and light and high frequency only. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and do that and take your time and see which pile resonates with you. And of course, the timestamps will be posted below, so you can go straight to your pile that you've chosen, as always, and get your messages immediately. All right, let's go ahead and move this reading on. So I'm going to put the koala to one side and the unicorn to one side just for now. So pile 1, if you chose the little bunny, again, this is a timeless general reading about basically your future children, what they're like. We'll try and get as much information about the circumstances, what they're like, your relationship, as much as we possibly can with the oracle cards here. And we also have some tarot cards. And then, of course, the charms will give us some extra insights. But we are going to start with the pendulum. So let's start from the middle here. So let's All right, so I really want to, there you go. A fair go around the pendulum here. So let's see. Okay, so it says stepmama and steppapa here. So let's just see what that actually means. What information we can get from that. There's lots of other ways, again, for a general reading to be able to, it could mean adoption, fostering, it could mean so many other things. So let's just see. Service. Yes, service with an open heart is a key to satisfaction. So we do have that energy there. Nine of Winter, unfounded fear, focusing on worst case scenario, allowing worry to grow out of proportion to the problem. We also have the 10 of Winter, so we're slowly moving up here. Resolution of difficulties, well done. A weight lifted off your shoulders, end of addiction or codependency. Okay, so, and then we have, so I chose these are beautiful cards here. So we have 30, which may be a number that works with you. And then we have the sword here, and she's sort of about to cut the teddy bear. So I feel as though there's a few different things coming in here. 10 of Athames, 10 of Swords coming in here too, 10 of Cups. So yeah, and the 7 of Swords reversed. This is a wonderful reading. All right, so let's see. I'm also deciding to do the charms at the same time. I like reading them at the same time. All right, so we have the heart here. We have the 5 rings. We also have another ring, so that does signify to me. We'll get into this a little bit further later. The hand of God, so holding everything in the palm of your hand. And so the movement forward. And then we have this beautiful sort of emblem here, which to me always means fluidity and moving through things. So the first thing that I'm picking up here is not necessarily stepmama or steppapa, but I feel as though this is a reading for people who probably already have children. And we have the one thing here, yeah, holding them on your back. So maybe these are children that are not with you right now. So you're not technically the stepmama or stepfather. You could be the natural father or mother, although it really doesn't matter because children are children and they just need to be loved. But for clarity's sake, what I'm getting here is that maybe you had your children early, or maybe you don't have them full time. You share them with somebody else. The other thing is that again, these are general readings, so I'm getting a few different things here. Maybe the children have been in the system, but you're getting them back. You've been working. I feel as though that when you had children, there was sort of unclarity or darkness around you. And I feel as though the main thing that was in and around you was that the legacy of how you were brought up, or the sort of negative traits around how it is that you were dealt with as a child were not fully healed or fully integrated. And it was very brave of you to have children without sort of moving on from the darkness that you experienced as a child. So the one thing that I'm getting here very specifically for some of you is that there was this sort of a stopping of sorts where, maybe somebody else or an agency or some other energy intervened and you didn't have your children all the time, but you have been working on yourself and you have been doing a lot of other things in order to, and I do feel as though for some of you, this is a relationship where you were either married or in a married type relationship. Now, the way in which I see it, or the way in which I'm being shown, is that anybody who has children with somebody, that is sort of a marriage type situation, because you are linked with their DNA and you are linked with that energy for this lifetime with that child. So whether you physically walked, quote unquote, down the aisle or not, it really doesn't matter. But I feel as though some of you may have gotten married, and I feel as though for some of you, again, and I'm getting a lot of different things, some of you still may be in a situation where you're married, but you're wondering if this marriage is still working for you, but you have children within there. And there's some kind of, in that circumstance, there's some kind of sacrifice that's had to happen for the children, and putting them first, which is, of course, wonderful. But I feel like coming back into yourself and putting your heart first here too, in order to be truly happy, and in order to find your own destiny. Maybe your children are a little bit older, or maybe it's just time for you to sort of resolve the situation that you're in. I also feel as though for some of you there is this understanding that you are thinking about fostering or perhaps adopting, whether it is, you're dealing with your own fertility stuff, or whether you just feel as though there are children out there that need homes, which of course is true. So there's several different things going on here. So the stepmom and steppapa could be for the fostering also too. And also feeling, but the main thing of this reading here that I can see, the main energy of this reading is coming out of this sort of delusional sort of illusion of energy, where you were around, again, this sort of darkness, and where the darkness was is sort of programmed thoughts from childhood, and being able to sort of disintegrate and pull apart these this understanding of how you were, and the baseline of your personality traits, and really sort of pulling those apart and moving into a brand new era where you are brand new, and therefore can see yourself as a good parent, somebody who is worthy of being a good mother or a good father, or however it is that you identify with gender. And I feel as though not taking on the problems of, I feel as though for a lot of you, there was a lot of drama, or a lot of dramatics growing up too. And even though you weren't, you were systematically placed in the middle of that, you may not have had anything to do with it. For most of you, you're far too young. But growing up, you attracted that drama in and around you too. So maybe your children were born in and around that drama. Now, some of it could be created by you. Some of it is codependency. Some of it is created by others, being a caretaker and taking on that energy too. But it may have been sort of what I keep seeing is a storm around you, having these children. And there's only so much that you can do when there's so much drama and so much of this energy around you. Where do you start, and where does somebody else begin? And then on top of that, you've got a newborn. So I do feel as though for this reading, pile one, it's mainly for people who already have children. But I do feel as though this is a brand new understanding of self, where you're either reunited with your children physically, or you're reunited with them in a way that is brand new, I would say. Because there's been a lot of work done on yourself. And a lot of people don't realize that we ourselves hold the power. And even if we do realize this, we don't actually live it on a fundamental sort of grounded level. If you want to change the world, you change yourself, and then everyone around you systematically changes. The people that are around you, they either level up and and then their frequency higher to meet ours, or they naturally fall away. Sometimes they fall away in really dramatic ways, but then they're gone. So what you've been doing, this is an enlightening moment for you, insofar as that you've actually figured out that instead of trying to help everybody around you, or try to figure out the situation around you, or deal with the drama, you've taken that inward, grounded into your own energy, and realized then when you work on yourself, the rest of the drama falls away. So this is something that you've been doing, pulling your energy back and systematically feeling into yourself, and healing your family bloodline, and healing your past and the drama that came in and around that. And again, maybe more importantly, some of the aspects of self that you picked up that were absolutely incorrect about who you were and what you could achieve in this lifetime, which were very limited beliefs that were projected onto you from a bloodline, a family bloodline that did not know any better. There may have been sort of codependencies within the relationships, perhaps alcohol or other substances sort of formed some sort of ideology around the way that you were brought up. But I can assure you that the way in which you were projected onto with this limited mindset, you may have carried on or carried with you, but it wasn't your burden to bear. Now you've realized that and changed all of the drama and everything around you. Now let's carry on with this 10 of Cups. So this right now is a reading about yourself and how you got here. So the 10 of Cups, you are at a brand new beginning. So the Nine of Cups is the wish card. You've moved beyond the wish card. You absolutely know you've taken back your power and know that if you want something, it's up to you to go get it. And you've been doing this with the Ten of Athames. What you've been doing in a really beautiful way is that you've been taking the negative that's been used against you, I feel as though, and there may have been family members that were a little bit toxic, used against you to try and sort of hurt you in some ways. But you've taken that energy, and what you've done is you've turned that around. And you've taken those swords and you've used them as swords of truth, and you've taken that as wisdom and power. Now, for the children, they are literally your hand of God. So they are your future. You see them as very much your future, and you absolutely adore that. And what you've been able to do because of the childlike energy in your life, or having these children in your life, you've been able to see completely how this turns around. If you don't sort out your life, if you don't do this, then you know that you will leave this legacy with your children. So it's really, it's helped you aimed up in a certain amount. Now, which of course is a beautiful thing. So instead of carrying the burden on your shoulder, or behind you, you've taken that energy and you've pulled it into yourself, and you've used it as a catalyst to get better. Now, for those of you who are looking and do not have children yet and are looking to have children, and are maybe adoption would be open to a situation where your partner or your future partner or your partner already has children, but you're not fully integrated into the family unit yet, or you want your own natural children, but you're not at the point yet because you were still working with the burdens of your family bloodline. I would say this reading absolutely is telling you that this is the time for you to reach out and change your destiny and move on, and whatever legacy you leave with the next generation, however you have this child, whether this child or children already exist, or whether they're going to be they already exist within a partnership, or whether you're thinking about natural childbirth, or what I would consider service here, fostering, which of course for me means also natural childbirth. And for whatever reasons, whether you can have children or not, or whether you've had the doubt around, whether you would be good enough, whether you have gone full circle, which of course this means that you have, that you won't be, that you would have doubts about whether you would be a good mother and father. This is this is definitely a reading letting you know that you absolutely are. You've done the work, and the joy that you would bring to the next generation would be absolutely beautiful. I just got, again, this is so many different things, general messages here. I just got another one for those of you who are a little bit older for childbearing years and have put it off and wondered if it's, either too late, or wondering whether it is the right time. This is also telling you that this is the right time. Again, completion of journey. You took the time to make sure that you did whatever you could, again, to not take the burdens of the old and distribute it throughout the new. So what you've done is you've concluded your journey of healing in that way, and you have healed your bloodline considerably. So whoever is out there thinking, should I be doing this? Absolutely. This is the time to move forward. I can tell you that specifically for the children, they will be joy, because they're coming out of, and even if this is the reading that we started with, those folks out there who already have children, but who are wondering, if they reunite with them, or if they're uniting with them in a different way, and working with them in a different way, and integrating your energy in a different way, because you've come out of this, you've come into this plateau of new healing. Then this is brand new beginnings. But I would say there's joy in these relationships with these children. There's joy, there's commitment there on all parts. The commitment for your child to be there for the next generation, and seeing your traits in the next generation, and seeing them in a really beautiful, sort of unhindered way. It's a really gorgeous, beautiful time. I feel as though these relationships, no matter how you come into it, again, this is so many different things coming in. There is an immense amount of joy and laughter and beauty. sense of humor. I'm seeing these children as they're young, very happy sort of babies, and really sort of, all babies are innocent, but they keep this sort of naivety and beauty and innocence around them. And I feel as though there's a childlike energy that comes out in you too, that's about to be rekindled, I would say, across the board, no matter how or, which situation that we've talked about, whether you already have the children, you're about to have them, you're thinking about adoption, you're moving into partnership with children. There is this joy of rekindling your innocence and your relationship with the divine and childhood in a way that you didn't have before. It's a brand new beginning for you, and these children will be able to do that for you. It's sort of this eternal kind of beautiful intertwining of the old and brand new beginnings. So I would say, pile one, I know this was absolutely a general reading. I got so many different sort of instances, and normally sort of focus on one and sort of move around that. But I hope this resonated for some of you, or for a lot of you on some levels, because there was a lot of different scenarios in there. But this is very positive, and the main message here is go forth with these relationships, whether they're brand new or whether they're being rekindled. You've done a lot of work to shed the darkness from the old and stuff that was done. That was done to you, and you've been moving steadily. We've got the 9 of winter, we've got the 10 of winter, and for those of you, we've got the 10 of cups, we've got the 10 of athames, the 10 of swords here. We've got the 7 of swords reversed. You've taken these burdens that you were given, and you've given them back in your own way, or you've dispersed them. You're no longer responsible for them. And I do feel as though your relationship with the understanding of children, it is a service to bring in the new generation and to bring in what we've learned and to serve the world and the beauty at large. And I feel as though the legacy that you will leave will be pure innocence. And that's absolutely incredible. So, Pile 1, if any of this resonated with you, do feel free to give me a thumbs up down below and let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you. So until we meet again, take care and bye-bye. Okay, Pile 2, this is you. If you chose the koala, welcome, welcome. So this is a timeless reading. So pretty much whatever comes up in this with the oracle cards and the tarot cards, and of course we'll be doing the charms too, which I'm going to read at the same time. And again, remember, this is a general reading, but we are going to start off. Okay, so let's start off with the pendulum and see how many, or get some insight into your children here. Okay, we got a boy. We got a boy here. Okay, so let's see if we can see. I'm going to try and do this again and see if you get how many you get. So let's see. Round and round it goes. And one child. All right, so now, again, this is a general reading, but it doesn't necessarily mean, I would say, that you're just going to have one child. But what this does say for this reading is that we're going to be focusing on this one boy child. Oh, Gabriel's calling in the pure white light. My goodness. You couldn't ask for a better card for a boy. Coming in. Okay, 3 of spring. Plan your next step with an eye to the long term. Have patience. So have patience here. King of summer, romantic partner you can trust. 31. Oh, look at this beautiful thing. You got the nurse there. You got the baby in there. So that's wonderful. 2 of athames, 2 of swords. Okay. Okay, you've got the 2 of pentacles, so this is about balance too. And then you've got the 4 of pentacles. So like I did with pile 1, let's go ahead and bring in some charms. I'm going to read them at the same time too. So let's see what we got here. So this is the hand of God. So this child will be a complete blessing. I love this symbol. The infinity symbol too. So this is definitely a child who is going to change the world. We have... so they're going to come in with a lot of esoteric knowledge, which I'm not surprised, because the next generation is definitely moving us forward. So I feel as though, let's see what we have here too. They are going to have their own mind. They are definitely going to be quirky little ones, and have a sense of commitment to. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so there's a few different things going on here. So I feel as though for some of you, and again, please bear in mind that this is a general reading. Now I'm going to put these over here and read them a little bit more clearly. And again, as we said at the beginning, if any of these charms specifically speak to you in a specific way, then go ahead and take those intuitive messages. That's what they're here for. But I feel as though some of you have been wondering if you should have a child. I think finances have had something to do with that. Pile one was kind of an interesting, there was so many general readings. I feel like, wow, it was just inundated with information. But I feel as though for some of you, the one thing that I am getting that's in line with pile one also is that some of you have been waiting because it's not the right time, or you feel as though it's not the right time, or you're not as settled, or you don't have the finances. And I do feel as though, to a certain extent, of course, that's true. And most people who would say, you're never really ready for a kid. And there's a part of that for the message too. You're never really ready. Maybe it's just time to do it. But of course, you should feel comfortable moving on. I do feel as though there's been a balance in your life. There's also been a little bit, let's move these up a little bit here. There's also been, I feel as though, there's been a little bit of a stalemate trying to figure out whether you are ready. Now, there's been a little bit of doubt. I think nobody who is a parent ever feels completely, ready, I would say. But I feel as though for you, you've really not been ready. You've really not felt ready. And the main part is that you've not wanted to take the past into the future. And there's a lot of things that you wanted to do. There's been a little bit of a distrust, I would say, pile two, for the messages that I'm picking up, that you would even be a good mother or father. Now, I can tell you right now that's absolutely ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous if that's how you felt. If that's how you felt, we can't say that your feelings are ridiculous. Objectively, that's not true, but there is a reason why you felt that way. Now, it did propel you to heal yourself in many ways. Now, I can tell you that this child is definitely blessed. I can tell you that this child is an energy that you wanted to come in with. You will have known this child before, this child's energy before. The other side of it is that, excuse me, I'm getting that you were really careful who you wanted to have a child with. Now, I'm getting, for the most part, like I said, with pile one, there was so many different scenarios. I'm getting very specifically with pile two that you haven't had a child yet, and you've not wanted to have a child with the people that you've had in your life before. So you've been really careful with that. And I feel as though you may have even have sort of made a deal with the universe in a way, like, please, when this child is ready. This child is definitely divinely guided. So the father in this lifetime was also divinely guided, and that's the person that you were going to have the child with. Now, for some of you, I am feeling that you've had a child with another, and this is another child that's coming in that hasn't been born yet. So again, general reading, there's two specific things that also came in. So this child with this new person will be the boy. And not to say that the child that you already have is not divinely guided, but specifically, I'm getting messages about this one boy that's coming in. Again, it does not mean that this is the only child that you will have, or this is the only child that you do have. But hand of God, they are going to teach you so much. And, in reference to pile one, this is something that you have definitely in common with pile one, although the readings are vastly different and the energies are vastly different, is that this child will definitely return you, no matter your age, to your childlike innocence. They will really be very curious and inquisitive. And because you have a little bit more knowledge or about yourself, you're definitely much more grounded and much more assertive and much more in touch with who you are. You will definitely be protective of your child, but you will give them the freedom to be able to explore the world in brand new ways. So you'll be seeing the world through their own eyes, which is brand new, and this sort of innocence, but being protected. And I feel as though that's going to renew your soul in a really beautiful way. As we've said, this child is going to bring in some esoteric information. And if there's any worry about financial or whether you'll be able to, that's totally understandable. I don't know where everybody is, but in America or anywhere in the Western world, it can be very expensive to bring up a child. But also it's not that it can be done on a string budget, but you definitely are very in touch with what a child actually needs. And it's not all the brand new toys and this, that, and the other. I feel as though there's going to be a lot of family love and a lot of family support in and around you. Now, whether you had that for the first child, for those of you who are listening and this is your second child or third child or even fourth, but second or third, whoever comes in with this, the person who's coming in to be the other side, the other parent of this child, their family definitely will be grounding with this child. So you'll have a lot of support in many ways. So getting freaked out about finances is totally reasonable, but it's unwarranted. You don't need to worry about it. As we said before, this child is really going to bring in, I feel as though, this idea of eternity. They're going to really bond what you already have, either within your relationship, within your family unit, your past, everything that you've done. You do feel ready. It's a really beautiful reading here. I feel as though if there are siblings, they're going to meld and bring in the siblings, and I feel as though the siblings that already exist are going to be absolutely thrilled at this baby too. And this kid is really going to have a very sort of a quirky sensibility because of the work that you have done on yourself. You will be protective, of course, but you won't be overprotective. Like we said, you will be seeing this committed version of yourself, but being able to see this freedom in and around this beautiful innocence. And you'll be sort of reliving aspects of the childhood that you had in joy that maybe that you didn't get to do the first time around. I feel as though there are a lot of things that brought you here. There's been the stalemate. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Maybe there's been a discussion with your partner. Should we have children? Should we not? Maybe you've gone backwards and forwards. But I do feel as though there's been this balancing. And for those of you who have any doubt whatsoever whether you would be a good parent, I mean, you were going to be the best parent in the world. I mean, honestly, you're going to be absolutely amazing. And for some of you, the 31 or the 39 means that for some of you who are deciding to have your children a little bit later than most do because you wanted to wait and figure out your own sensibility before you have a child, this is your indication, pile 2, that this is the time. Everything is falling into place. Absolutely. We've got the 2 of Pentacles with the balance. We've got the 4 of Pentacles. So everything very soon is falling into place. And now I want to be really clear about this sort of one-child boy energy. I'm not a big believer in gender, although when you have a child, it's one gender or the other for the most part. But this child also could have very sort of masculine traits. But I do feel as though they could be a girl and have very masculine traits. They're very balanced in their own way, but they have this unique sort of power that comes in with them, which is really, really beautiful. And I feel as though the person that you're having this child with is just going to be a real dote. It's going to be really doting on this child. And I feel as though for some reason, I just got this, that the child will initially sort of look like the partner or your partner and bring out this extra cuteness. I don't know why I got that, but I did actually get that. And maybe they will move into looking like you later, but that's something that I got. And I feel as though for some of you who are maybe, again, a little bit older and worried about the fertility stuff, just relax and have fun and don't worry about it. Again, this is definitely letting you know, or for those of you who are maybe, regardless of age, or have had fertility problems before or any of that, the pile 2 here is just letting you know that this kid is divinely guided. So you really don't have to worry about it. Just relax and do what you're going to do and have fun doing it. That's the main thing. But I feel as though for a lot of you with the stalemate, there wasn't a lot of time to have a child, to devote to having a child. And that's something that you had to sort of negotiate in your life, and you had to get to the point where certain systematic sort of grounded situations, maybe you work from home now, or maybe, like we said, that there's a partner now, or situations have changed. But I feel as though you definitely will have a lot more time and even energy, again, regardless of age. There are, I am picking up on some folks here who are wondering, have I left it too late? And you really haven't. I feel as though with the Western world too, they have very specific cutoff dates and this, that, and the other. And if you're just healthy and knowing who you are, I mean, my sister had her first kid, I think, at 43, and her second one at 45. They're perfectly healthy, amazing kids. And honestly, she's the best mother. You'd never know her age. She looks as young as hell. She really does. Not that we know what age hell is, but you know what I mean. So it's just letting you know that wherever you are in your life, if you wanted to move forward with this is the perfect time. I do feel as though this kid too, with the koala, I'm feeling a lot of compassion. This kid is going to be very compassionate, certainly bordering, if not fully, into the sensitive, empathic stage. Of development, coming in as an empath, but you will know how to navigate those waters. I feel for you, pile 2, you're definitely sensitive, and it's been sort of tough for you. And that's another thing. I think for some of you, you were wondering if you wanted to bring in a child, knowing that what life was like for you, being so sensitive and empathic in this world. But you have turned a corner in that way, and you will be able to integrate that knowledge very early on in this child's life, so they won't. And I say, for some of you, you really did suffer in the world. You really did feel, you didn't feel that connection. You'll be able to teach this kid. They won't be coming in with the same interaction or the same destiny that you had. You're not passing on that energy of isolation that you were for some of you, were born into and had to deal with when you were younger. So I feel as though this is a brand new beginning with this child, and they are going to be sensitive, but you will be able to navigate a very fun, loving child. Moving, sort of always moving, and grab them in everything, inquisitive, very happy. I don't feel as though a lot of sickness too in the early years. And I feel as though, again, a sense of completion. This child comes in with a sense of completion. Now, again, this does not necessarily mean that this is your one and only child, or this is the first child, or this will be your last child. We're only focusing on the fact that it's one child and it's a gender boy. At least it's going to have masculine elements, just to be very clear. But I feel as though there is a sense of completion around this child with this esoteric information that this child will come in with. And I feel as though there is a natural sense of balance with the masculine and feminine in a way that you had to sort of learn to sort of support and balance within your life. This child will naturally have it. So there's the last message that I'm getting for you, pal 2, which is really, really pretty, is that you can speak to this child if it's not already born. Now, for some of you, this child may already have been born, but for this reading, I would say they're still like 2, 3, 4 months old, maybe 4 months old. So they're still very, very young. And again, with the gender, it would be the strength, the masculine strength that's coming out in this child. So if your child is around 4 months and is a girl, then we're talking about the masculine sort of sense of power this child is coming in with. Not that you can't have power with the divine feminine, of course you can, but we are rising with the divine feminine in this lifetime, and this child is rising with it, and also learning to equalize and naturalize and support the divine masculine in a new way. So this child would have been born in around the circumstances to be able to bring in the new age, which is, we're coming into the new age of Aquarius here. So I would say you are on the right tracks to be doing all of this, and it's just a beautiful time for you to consider. So yes, the last thing to do is that if your child is not born yet, you can speak to your child in meditation. Absolutely. This energy is already there for you. You already know this energy. You probably had a past life with this child, and it's, like we said, it's divinely guided. So go ahead in your meditation and feel as if you can absolutely speak to this child. And if you feel as though you're ready, you can certainly let them know, but you don't have to. It's not necessary. I feel as though just getting in tune with that energy, and you will be able to feel this child coming in, or the energy of this child coming in and around you. That's going to make you feel a lot more grounded and guided to move forward with this kid. So if this resonated with you, if any of this general reading resonated with you, do let me know in the comments. I'm going to try and, all right, see if we can pull this here. Set off in the middle. So do let me know in the comments. I love to hear from you. Also give me thumbs up if you feel as though this energy or this reading was great. I always love to hear from you, so feel free, even if you leave it for a while and then come back and let me know in the comments. And if you feel as though this energy is energy that you're looking to have supportive in your life, then feel free to subscribe. Would love to have you. All right, until we meet again, Pile 2, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, Pile 3, if you chose the little unicorn, yay, Unicorn Light Tarot, then this is yours. Again, this is a general reading. So we are going to use the tarot cards and the oracle cards and try and get some more specific messages. We've had some interesting stuff happen, messages come up in Pile 1 and Pile 2 with the general stuff. This is a timeless reading, so let's see what happens for you. First thing we're going to do is get you some information here. I'm just going to move that and see what we have. Okay, so we have one child. Let's see if we get any more information here. So as I said with Pile 2, who also got one child, now it doesn't necessarily mean stepmama or steppapa. Okay, so there's a few different things it can mean. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll only have one child. It does mean that this reading is probably just going to be about this one child. Stepmama or steppapa. What I'm getting for you, Pile 3, and let's just see. Archangel Raphael, healing and abundance coming to you. So the first thing that I'm getting is, and again, these are general readings, is that there's a little bit of an unsurety about whether to have a child. So there's a little bit of an objectivity coming out, sort of looking at child, you know, being a parent from the outside looking in. And that's why the stepmama and steppapa came up. And that's why you need to release. So I don't necessarily feel as though you will be a stepmama and a steppapa. And for those of you who already are, then this will be about the one child. But I feel as though, yeah, this is about you renewing your faith in being a good parent and moving forward. So Knight of Athames we have here. We have the Ace of Swords. This child is going to be full of truth. And Fortune reversed. So let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and do these charms and take them. So I got to tell you, every single one of you, I think you've all gotten the hand of God. So, you know, all children are precious, but yours really are. And I think most of you have gotten this esoteric information coming in. So holding this esoteric information coming in and being guided. So they're really sort of empath star seeds coming in. And a lot of you, I feel like, I can't remember if it's Pile 1 or Pile 2, but the sense of dandy being really unique. This kid is going to be really funny. They're going to make you laugh. Yeah, a sense of commitment, again, to the process of fatherhood and motherhood. A sense of, we've got Ganesha here. And we've got the octopus, which is really, really fun. So I've got a few different things going on with the octopus, but let's get back to this and then we'll return back to the charms too. So there's a sense of truth. And, you know, Pile 1 and Pile 2 have been different, completely different energies, but there have been some overlying sort of themes. And the one theme that I have for you is that trusting yourself to be a good parent and bringing your truth. You wanted to be able to bring your own brand of truth to the next generation. And now that you can do that, I feel as though you have fought tooth and nail to figure out who you are and shedding the past and shedding the old. And there's still a little bit of, maybe a little bit of distrust. And the vision that I'm getting is, again, very much you on the outskirts, looking into the idea of parenthood. I don't know if you've ever seen Baby Boom. It's kind of, I love the movie. I really do. But I'm really soppy when it comes to movies. It's very old now. And it's very dated in many ways. it's working within sort of sexism in the 1980s, I think, in America. But it's a kind of an interesting. I don't know if you want to go see it. I'm not advocating that you do, but the theme of it is coming up for you. The idea of she wasn't ready, decided that she didn't have a child, and then she ended up inheriting a child, and then she ended up being a really good mother. So I feel as though there's a theme for you, Pile 3, with that. There definitely is. And that's why we got the stepmama on the steppapa. And that's the first thing that I'm getting. Again, reminder, this is a general reading. So if this message is for you and it's resonating, wonderful. If it isn't, let it go. So I feel as though for you, holding that truth and fighting tooth and nail for that truth. And I feel as though there's a little bit of doubt too. Not only if you'd be a really good parent, if you really want children, you know, and also there's, you know, if we can say this, maybe a little bit of jealousy, wondering, you know, I think for some of you, you know that you are ready. You know that you are ready because you've done the work, not necessarily ready to have a child, but you've done the work on yourself. So you could be ready to have a child, but you're wondering, you know, you didn't have that childhood that you could give potentially a child coming into your life. You're wondering if, you know, if you will be sullied by that, if you will be jealous of that. And that's a very specific thing, but it's coming up for some of you. So we can speak for that. Absolutely, Pile 3. So the one thing I'm saying about, so we can say about that is please release that. It's totally understandable that you would feel that way, first of all, because a lot of you are feeling a lot of guilt around feeling this way. Please just let that go. Totally understandable, but do release it. Number 13, number 15 is coming in very strong too. 13 is a very lucky number. It's also a number of new beginnings. At least that's how I see it and read it in my life. I'm also born on the 13th, but I also see as a brand new year. It's also a very lucky number. It's also a number of magic. This child will be magical in its own way. Now, getting back to the point that we were saying, you will be able to relive your childhood in a brand new way with this child. So you will not have to worry about being jealous. You will not have to worry about wondering how you will react when you will be able to present all of this beautiful energy and situations and opportunities for your child in the future that you were never given as a child. You're wondering how that's going to react, how you're going to react to that. There's a little bit of pain around that, but you're going to be really happy to do that, and you're going to relive your childhood and your joy in a brand new way. So you won't even, when it comes to it, and you will be able to give your kid a lot more opportunities than you were given. And I mean on a sort of metaphysical, spiritual, and physical level, pretty much on all levels. You have transcended the way that you were brought up. And there's not even flexes of the old coming in for your brand new beginnings with your children. You're really going to be able to sort of give them a sort of a beauty. Now, for those of you, and this just came in too, for those of you who already have children, but they're older, but they're coming into the grandparent stage where you'll be the grandparent and you'll still be able to have this beauty and this love in and around you with, so maybe your kids are about to have, you know, grandchildren, or they're thinking about it and you're wondering how that's going to play out for you. Or, you know, if you're too old or not too old, but if this is something that you want, or if you're excited about it or anything like that, not if you're too old, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. But if you are, that's not what I meant. I meant sort of old in sort of old mindset, sort of, if you're ready to be a grandmother, if you're wondering how that will affect you, and the excitement around it, you will be, for some of you, there will be grandchildren coming into your life and you'll be able to really see your own childhood and be able to, without the responsibility, be able to sort of relive some real joy, some real moments of joy that you never really got to do as you were growing up, and even with your own children, because it was a completely different situation, completely different era. And when I mean era in your life. You've had certain different eras that you've moved through and you've released, and then you've become a new person, and this will be a brand new beginning for you. So for a few of you, some of your kids are having children or about to. And this is going to be a brand new beginning for you too. So if you're wondering how that's going to affect you, completely positively, in a way that's really unexpected, you're really going to get your childlike abundance back. I feel as though this energy, and of course, for those of you who, where you're not the parent, you get to give them back at the end of the day. That's even better, right? So I feel as though for those of you who are thinking about bringing in your own truth, and wondering whether the circumstances were right, it's all coming to you. And this child is definitely, as pile two, this child is a child that's been in and around you. This energy's been in and around you. I feel as though for those of you who are going to have this child, you've known that you were going to have a child, even though you thought to yourself, maybe I wouldn't. But I feel as though this reading of actually moving forward and having the child is not a surprise to you. I feel as though you're very practically minded, which is obviously a great thing to be, especially if you're thinking about having a child. They can be financially, they do cost money, X, Y, and Z. But I feel as though there's been a balance and there's been a new resurgence about something in your heart has shifted. I feel as though, and that's what this is about, a new commitment to the new generation. I feel as though you just went through a shift where, do I really want to bring a kid into this world? And now you do. There's been a shift from the 3D to the 5D. And now you do want to bring in the next generation because you're absolutely certain that you can leave a legacy of truth and trust. And that's because you've done the work. Again, this kid is going to be hand of God, but also this child, we have Ganesha here. This child comes in with some very powerful spiritual guides. With you also, you have these guides, but I feel as though this child is bringing in sort of a new direction. They're going to be there's a new direction that's working in this lifetime. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, and I feel as though this child is going to be part of that movement quite naturally. I feel as though there's a real fun sensibility, and they're going to live spherically in all directions. Whereas you are more practically minded, 5 steps forward, 4 steps backwards, see what works out. I feel as though the energy of this child coming in is going to be, when they live spherically, they just sort of move in all directions. This is what the octopus is. There's definitely a love of water. There's obviously a love of the ocean. When I say obviously, because you have a love of water. This kid might be either water. They're coming in with a very sensitive soul, but they're also coming in with this confidence that you will be able to provide for them in this really beautiful way. And they have this sense of unique, their own sense of magic, which you'll be able to protect from a very young age. Now, I feel as though you came in with your own sense of magic, but it was sort of knocked out of you, not necessarily physically, but the world knocked it out of you. You weren't protected the way that you should have been, and you came into your practical sense of self way too early. You didn't have the childhood you absolutely deserved, but you will be able to sort of not stand guard. You're not going to be a helicopter mom or dad or anything like that, but you will have the sensibility to be able to protect the innocence of this child. So they will be able to experience really having this childhood and living spherically without being forced into sort of a more practical mindset too early. I feel as though a lot of you have the doubts, and again, being on the outskirts looking in, because you never really got to have the childhood. You had to grow up so early, and you really are confused about how you would do this, but actually you would be amazing, because you would be able to sort of give your kid that space and freedom to have that childhood. And incidentally, it's not really incidentally, you would be able to have that childhood that you never really had either. And this is something that you have in common with Pile 2. This came up with Pile 2 too. Again, very different energy, so it's not necessarily... you don't have to go back and listen to Pile 2. But I would say release all the doubts in and around. But at the same time, your practical side is saying, yeah, but we have to be practical about this. And that is wonderful. And no one's saying you shouldn't be practical. But let's bring in a little bit of the whimsy here. I feel as though for you, sometimes there's an issue with having to be completely 150% like committed to something before you go through it. And I feel as though with you don't commit very often, but when you do with your heart and soul. And that is absolutely admirable. I would say, with this though, with the having the child, maybe that energy's just been a little bit too fixing, a little bit too fixated. Maybe you've become a little bit too fixated. With the whole commitment sense of it, maybe just enjoy the whimsy. Maybe just allow in the whimsy and just relax around the energy about having a child and see what comes up, rather than having to plan or do any of that. And I think that will allow you not to necessarily be on the outskirts anymore. Maybe you won't be on the outskirts looking in and deliberating whether you want to do this. Maybe you'll just be open to the situation, yay or nay, and just see where it goes. I'm not suggesting that you just go out there and go ahead and get pregnant just for the hell of it. I'm not suggesting that at all. And obviously, always listen to your intuition, especially with these readings. No one's telling you what to do. It absolutely has to be with your heart and soul. Either this resonates or it doesn't. And if it does, you know what to do. These are just simply guidance. But, there is, if you want to, there is a beautiful energy waiting for you to come into your life. What holds the hand of truth. And you don't have to worry about the fortune. I know that this is sort of reversed. You have everything that you need. And again, you're one of those people that likes to have all your ducks in a row before you get out there. You have a sense of perfectionism. And in your work and in certain aspects in your life, that works really well. But sometimes it sort of tears into or leaks into other aspects of your life. And it doesn't always work. So with this, I would say ease up. The one thing I will say with when this kid comes in, they are messy and it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for you to be whimsical and messy and not worry about the perfection. You're definitely not going to be one of those parents who are looking for, perfection. I think this is going to ease up on the perfection aspect of self. And this is going to be really good for you just to embrace the beauty of just being there in that moment and enjoying that moment with your kid. So you can always ask Archangel Raphael. And again, for those of you who are, this has come up several times. I don't recall Pile 1, it seems so long ago, but definitely with Pile 2, if you're a little bit older and thinking about having a child, this is also, you will be absolutely fine to go ahead and do that. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and be who you are and be open to this child is, again, a spirit that you've known already. You can also talk to Archangel Raphael here. Healing and the abundance coming into you. I just got in the very last message here that some of you have had a little bit of wombish issues too, for those ladies out there. So for those of you who do have or have had fertility stuff going on, again, just ease up, go into the whimsy, and do speak to Archangel Raphael. Just clearing out all that it's I'm getting the message that it's clearing out some of the old stuff from your childhood too, and a little bit of the doubt. We had the release card here. So all you need to do is return to whimsy and clear out some of that. And again, it's not intrinsically in there. There's just some echo, a little bit of dust. Let's just call it dust. A little bit of the echo of the darkness. So yeah, once that clears out, you'll definitely be setting some space for you to move forward with complete and whole fertility. So that's another thing that you can do to keep up the hope, speak to Archangel Raphael. And yeah, that's exciting time. This is really, highly guided with Ganesha here, and just this esoteric, beautiful information, and the sense of whimsy around this kid is just really beautiful. And I do get a sense of, I try to get a sense of whether it was a boy or girl, but I really do feel, and I don't really like to harp on gender here, because I think we're sort of moving beyond that in a way. But this kid will be equally balanced between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, which is something that you've had to work through in this lifetime. In our generation, we've had to, but this kid is being born with that balance already set. I think this is just going to be a beautiful little kid. Again, hand of God here, their own whimsy coming in with the unicorn, but I do feel as though they either have a lot of water in their chart, but they could be, Pisces, Cancer, or what's the other one? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Pisces, Cancer, Oh, Scorpio, which is hilarious because I can't believe I forgot that one. Scorpio, but they're coming in with an intense understanding of who they are, but they're also very open. So their intensity will be. So I'm not necessarily feeling the Scorpio energy, which is why it didn't really come up, because as a Scorpio, which I am, I have a lot of Scorpio energy. I understand and it can feel that intensity. I feel as though this is more Pisces or Cancer, really sort of free flowing, very sensitive, but again, living very spherically, which again will teach you how to do that. And for all of you grandmothers out there that are coming into the grandmother stage, this is going to be really fun for you to be around the spherical kind of aspect of this child too. So new beginnings, brand new stuff going on with you. A few different scenarios here with this general reading. So if any of this resonated with you, I'd love a thumbs up. Give me a like. Do feel free to comment down below. I always love hearing from you guys. And again, if you do love these readings and you do feel as though you like this energy in and around your life, feel free to subscribe. Would love to have you. So Pal 3, take care. I'm really excited about your new little one, no matter how they come in. So until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.